Welcome to this unit on pronunciation. Please make sure you've got your manual open at Unit 8, and remember you can pause the recording anytime you want to think about a point or do some extra reading from the manual. My first question is, what is pronunciation? Take a few minutes to have a brainstorm and think of what you think makes up pronunciation. You'll probably find that you came up with quite a lot of the ideas here. On the left-hand side you see that we have all the parts of pronunciation that are related to phonemes. Phonemes being the individual sounds in a particular language that you can combine together to make words. Phonemes are divided into consonants like p and b, p being unvoiced and b being voiced, and into vowels, and these vowels can be single vowels like the in cat. They can be short or long, and diphthongs have two sounds. Coat has two sounds to it. On the right hand side you see that you have the aspects of pronunciation that relate to connected speech. One of the most important aspects is stress, and you have the stress in individual words. So for example, you say elephant rather than elephant, and then sentence stress, where you choose which word in a sentence to stress, and that can change the meaning. And sentence stress is very strongly linked to intonation, which is probably the most slippery of all the concepts in pronunciation. The first thing we're going to look at are the different sounds of English. These are called phonemes, and they are the individual sounds that you combine together to make up a particular word. Phonemes are often unique to languages, although many languages share phonemes. You'll find that there are some sounds in some languages that you can't find in others, and this is what's confusing for our learners. So for example, if you are Korean and you look at these, p and f, they sound like aspects of the same sound. Spanish, b and v, aspects of the same sound. If you are Chinese, l and r, or Japanese, l and r as well, sound like aspects of the same sound, and so they have to learn to differentiate them, to hear them, and to be able to say them. You might remember, if you did the Greek lesson, that there were certain sounds in Greek, for example, that we don't have in English. This is quite a useful chart in terms of reference. You can see that each sound has a unique way of writing it, which always represents that, and that comes up often in dictionaries next to the English spelling. You'll have the phonemic transcription. So you can use this chart as a reference to help you know what are all the sounds in English that your learners expected to make. And we're now going to look at them in more detail. So the first thing that we're going to look at are the monophthongs, the simple single vowel sounds. So let's have a look at how we make some of these sounds. You have some vowel sounds here in red, which I would like you to try making. There's E and I, U and U, and O, A and O. So have a go at saying these. You can use a mirror to also look at how you move your mouth, and see what you notice about your lips. Are they stretched out or relaxed? Is your mouth open or closed? How far forward are your lips? If you want to check that, put your finger on your lips as though you were saying shh, and see what happens to your lips when you are saying these. Also, become very aware of your tongue. Where is it in your mouth? Is it touching anything? Is it far forward in your mouth, or is it further back? And also listen to the sound. Can you make it for a long time? Can you draw it out? Or does it sound very short? So please pause the video and spend a little bit of time experimenting with these sounds. So you probably noticed when you were doing this that your lips move a lot when you are making vowel sounds. So it can be very stretched when you're saying E. You can feel a stretch in your lips, but when you're saying a sound like oo, your lips are much smaller, make a smaller circle. Or as well, there's a small opening. There's a large opening. As in the sound in fur, is a very neutral sound. Then if you put your finger on your lips as though you were hushing someone, you'll see that with E, your lips are very flat, but with oo, they come much further forward. Another thing to be aware of is where is your tongue in your mouth. Now, of course, this is much harder to work out because you can't look into your mouth. One thing you can do is a little experiment. Take a clean finger and touch the tip of your tongue and maintain the contact between your index finger and the tip of your tongue. Now say E, E. You'll probably find that your tongue is far forward in your mouth. Maintaining the contact, slide the sound until you are making the sound oo. As you go from E to oo, you'll probably notice that your finger is going further and further inside your mouth as it maintains contact with your tongue. Your tongue is going further and further back, as you can see in the illustration in this slide. So, in addition to lip position, tongue position is a very important part of making individual sounds, and learners need to become aware of where their tongues are in their mouths. Another aspect of vowels is whether they're long or short, and this is where the phonemic chart can really help you. You'll see that all the long vowels are indicated on the chart by a semicolon next to them, and when you make these sounds you can see that you can really draw them out. E, oo, or, ah. What's left are the short vowels like I, O, E, A, O. So that's another difference between various vowels. So when you're making these sounds with your learner, help them to become aware of what their mouth shape is, their tongue position, whether they are able to say this sound for a long or a short time, to help them make the vowel sounds. There's a lot of vowel sounds in English, more than in a lot of languages. For example, Maori has only, I think, 5. Italian certainly has 5 compared with all these in English. We've had a look at simple vowel sounds. We're going to look at the more complex vowel sounds, the ones that require 2 sounds to make them up. You'll see here that I've said 7 or 8. That's because in some New Zealand accents this air sound has disappeared and is really replaced by ear. So depending on your accent, you may or may not want to teach the air sound in English. So we're going to do what we did before, which is to really notice how we are making these sounds. You have 4 possible diphthongs: ear, a, oi, and ow. So as you say them, think how many sounds you can hear and what sounds they are, but also think about the duration of each sound. Do you say one for a longer time than the other? So stop the video and experiment with making these sounds. Now this is where the chart comes in very useful, because there's a visual representation of the 2 different monophthongs that make up these diphthongs. All of these are made up from 2 sounds, 2 monophthongs. Let's look at the first one, ear, which you can see is made up of an E and then that very short little sound, very neutral sound. When you say them, ear, you can probably also hear that the E takes longer, maybe 60-70% of the duration, and the is much shorter, 40-30% of the duration. So you might need to help your learner adjust duration as well. When you're teaching a learner these sounds, first of all make sure that they can make the two individual sounds, and then get them to kind of mix it up. So you teach ear, 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 until they're achieving the target sound. A is made up of an e and an I, oi, o, I, oi, and ow, a, oo, out.